is the rudder of the boat, but the Lord of all is its pilot. Cast not thy heart after riches. There's no ignoring fate and destiny. Place not thy thoughts on things outside. Every man is destined for his hour.
On feeling goods where all of your cash went. Not chakra alignment or inward refinement. Trying to find one word to describe men. Better yet, can one consciousness unify them? Pondering on these questions is where my time spent. Creative process, believe me, greatness got to achieve it. Ideas we believe in, positive mind, gotta reach in it. Put an effort to bring forth this new being. You're not consumed by the lust for things, but knows that his work is determined by words and deeds. Your mind is affected by words and deeds. Your thoughts are keys to what you're trying to see, and what you're trying to see should be to reach your goals. Hold on to your dreams, keys open doors. Since you can't always choose circumstances, make sure to choose your thoughts wisely. Choose advancement, move towards the future. Now's your chance, kid. Accept responsibility, avoid resentment. Actions always take root from what you think about. Things ain't going your way, it ain't hard to figure out. Why? Why? Ask why. Ain't gotta tell you, it's right in front of your eyes. So in following these principles, you'll find along the road you're the only one responsible for your soul. It's no coincidence. Take control of your life, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. You take control, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Yeah, it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Nah, it's no coincidence.
Old shells are highly prized. And this one is occupied by a sarcastic fringe.
Trump's policies would throw us into a recession. The last thing we need.
Some of those jobs of the past are just not going to come back. He just says, "Well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal." Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have?
The Dow, well, it's gone up for 8 straight sessions, and it will go up, at least at the opening bell, again today.
Companies are hiring. We know layoffs are down and companies are hiring.
Unemployment for African Americans fell to a new low of 5.9%. Female job seekers, a low as well, 3.4%.
Jobless claims dropping to 3.8%. In fact, we've only seen a number that low since 1969.
Even the New York Times has to admit it. Check out this reporting. We ran out of words to describe how good the jobs numbers are.
You are now entering another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of critical thinking. A journey to a wondrous land with boundaries that of clarification. Your next stop, the Sanity Zone. Alright. You're listening to breaking news, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, aka The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio. What's up, everybody? Ain't nothing like a Monday to get the political shenanigans going, right? You have what's going on with the Supreme Court Justice nominee, right? This last minute Hail Mary that the Democrats have thrown. Now it's up to the Republicans whether they're gonna fold on this, because I mean, I have a lot of stories coming up, so I don't want to jump into it now, but the Republicans have to stand strong. Unless there's legitimate proof, they can't be taken down by this, what was it, somebody called this hashtag #MeToo lynch mob, because that's what they've been trying to use the Me Too movement against the Republicans, and it keeps boomeranging towards them. You know, the Democrats have been trying to use, they came out with the Me Too movement just for Trump. You know, and when they couldn't get Trump, it had to be, since they had so much dirt, so many disgusting people on their sides. You know, you have Bill Clinton, Harvey Weinstein, and so on. You know, Woody Harrelson, is it? No, not Woody Harrelson. What's his name? Guy who married his daughter. Woody Allen. You know, you have so many of these people on their side. So this Me Too movement, they had to take down some of their own in order to legitimize it. They thought, you know, we come out with it, every woman's offended about everything, and we get Trump. And what happened was with the Democrats is that it picked up steam, and they legitimized it to the point where they started eating their own, which is fine. And now they're trying to turn this movement on the Supreme Court Justice candidate, Brett Kavanaugh. Now, this guy has been put through background check after background check, because he's worked with the government for a while, right? And he's gone through 6 different FBI background checks. 6 different. Every time he went up a level in his job or his clearance, he went through another background check. And they've never found this. It's just like the Anita Hill, Clarence Thomas stuff, where Clarence Thomas had been put through the whole FBI background check, didn't find anything. But you bring somebody in, and it's he said, she said, my word against his word, and it becomes complicated, right? And so the Democrats, what they do is that they play the victim card and the Republicans hate women card, and they hope that the people listening, because not everybody listens to the politics like we do, but the people listening, their constituents actually start freaking out that, oh my God, they're gonna put somebody in the Supreme Court who's possibly a criminal and all of this. No proof of anything. No proof of anything. So, and I'm gonna get to a bunch of these stories. You know, I'm thinking, should I get? Let's get a story not having to do with that out of the way first, or we jump straight into it. You know, I'm gonna play some music. I'll be right back, and we'll decide then where we're jumping to. You're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news, breaking the mainstream media in half with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
Said you got a couple girls in your phone, so you better pick the right one. Said you got a couple girls in your phone, so you better pick the right one. I ain't never been the one, no, I'm never number 2. Hope that you picking them right, you got everything to lose. You put it all on the line. You put it all on the line. All on the line. Baby, yeah, you're tripping. I hope she got all the things I've been missing. Curves like the letter S, cause she getting money. Ain't take me too long to see that you was moving funny. You got girls, so I hope it was right. Hope it was right. Always focused, but I still kept it tight. Knew knowing how to do it just how you like. Still you had to mess it up, I can't be polite. I hate your mama, hated your mama all of this time. Hate your mama, tell me what was this? Said you got a couple girls in your phone, so you better pick the right one. Said you got a couple girls in your phone, so you better pick the right one. I ain't never been the one, no, I'm never number two. Hope that you picking them right, you got everything to lose. You put it all on the line. You put it all on the line. You put it all on the line. Any, mini, miny, mo. I hope you pick the girl who's right from head to toe. You already know I get super cold. See you in public, act like you're somebody that I don't know. How does it feel knowing you ain't never finding someone better? Why can't you just let her? I was a girl, I ain't know no better. How you gonna let her? I hope you pick the right one. Said you got a couple girls in your phone, so you better pick the right one. Girls up in your phone. Said you got a couple girls in your phone, so you better pick the right one. I ain't never been the one, no, I'm never number two. Hope that you picking them right, you got everything to lose. You put it all on the line. You put it all on the line. All on the line. Well, I hope she holds you when you're on your own. And I hope she's all that you need and more. Hope she holds you when you're on your low. Holds you on your low. And I hope she's all that you need and more.
Hey, you're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, aka The Brave. I hear something going on in the background. Let's see.
It was a completely false allegation, and as Greg said, they admit in the story multiple times that this.
All right, you're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, aka The Brave. All right, let's just jump into some of this stuff, right? Because there's no other way to do it, right? So we got to jump into it. This lady who first was anonymous, supposedly she didn't want to testify in front of the Senate. She didn't want, to make herself known. She didn't want to do anything except that she told Dianne Feinstein, who knew about it since July, right? And she's actually had one-on-one meetings with Kavanaugh. She had an interview with him over the phone. They were able to question him during the hearings, the Senate hearings, and none of it came up at all. So she had these accusations. She turned it over to the FBI. The FBI gave it right back to her because they had already done their background check, so they didn't have anything on these accusations. So Dianne Feinstein and the Democrats have nothing. Then they get together, they have this meeting, and they wonder, what is their Hail Mary? What else? What is left to try to stop Brett Kavanaugh from becoming the Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh? So Dianne Feinstein pulls this accusation out, even though the lady said she didn't want to be put in the spotlight. So Dianne Feinstein, for political reasons, put this accusation out there. And now everybody has to take it serious, even though there's a lot of questions about this thing. So, but it's a last minute thing to try to stop Brett Kavanaugh from getting the votes. So let's read. Let's see. Where am I at? This is from the Federalist Papers. And the title is Kavanaugh's Accuser Has a Dirty Little Secret. Brett Kavanaugh's accuser has a dirty little secret. She's not been exactly forthcoming. It turns out Kavanaugh's mother was the judge involved in foreclosing on her parents' home. So the Kavanaughs, her mother, the accuser's mother's home was foreclosed, and the judge who, took care of the proceedings was Brett Kavanaugh's mother. It turns out Brett Kavanaugh's mother was involved in the foreclosing of the parents' home. Is this a Supreme Court confirmation battle, or is it a soap opera titled Montgomery County? Turns out that Brett Kavanaugh's mother was the judge in a 1996 home foreclosure in which the defendants were the parents of Kavanaugh's last-minute attempted rape accuser, Christian Blasey Ford. The house in question, pictured above, is in Potomac, one of the highest income towns in Montgomery County, Maryland, the Washington, D.C. suburb that is one of America's highest income residential areas. Indeed, the entire cast of characters in Ford's up to the wire emergence from the shadows of Dianne Feinstein's secret anti-Kavanaugh file seems to hail from upscale Montgomery County in what is turning out to be a complex edge-of-your-seat multi-generational saga. Move over the OC. Right? Republicans need to continue with the confirmation process. These are tweets from actor James Woods, right? If hashtag Republicans don't stand up to these hashtag Me Too lynchings, the hashtag Democrats will destroy them. One nomination, one election, one man at a time. These fabricated smear jobs are a calculated cancer. The line in the sand must be drawn. And it's true, they shouldn't cancel. They shouldn't cancel the vote on Kavanaugh. They shouldn't. Dianne Feinstein had this information in July. And she's waiting. She waited till now to bring it forth. You don't cancel it, you continue. If the lady wants to be heard, you let her be heard. You let her give evidence. Anything short of evidence, you proceed with the vote. And he becomes the 9th Supreme Court Justice. See, that's the problem, that Democrats feel that accusations should be enough. Because, like I said earlier, they eat their own, right? So somebody accuses somebody, and somebody could accuse me of something of 20 years ago. And now, how are you supposed to prove that you didn't do something? All they have is the accusation. Right? So, it's just insane. All right, let's go on to another one. The Washington Post revealed on Sunday that Christine Blasey Ford, a California professor, is the person who now accuses Supreme Court nominee Judge Brett Kavanaugh of a rape attempt back when they were both in high school in the 1980s. In a Washington Post piece on Sunday, Ford, a psychology professor, described her alleged encounter with Kavanaugh back in high school, in which she now accuses Kavanaugh of pinning her to a bed and attempted to force himself on her. Ford never told anyone this story, told anyone of any supposed incident until 2002, when she discussed the matter with a therapist during a marital counseling session. Now, during that session, And let me get the story on that. All right, let's see. This is from the Federalist Papers. 12 reasons to question the truthfulness of Kavanaugh's accuser. Now, here go the accusations from the ones she made in 2012 and the ones she's making now and all the holes in the story. The anonymous woman who had accused Brett Kavanaugh, President Trump's nominee to replace Anthony Kennedy on the Supreme Court, has come forward. Her name is Christine Blasey Ford, and she currently works as a professor in the social work department at California State University, Fullerton. She accused Kavanaugh of forcing himself on her at a party in the early 1980s when she was 15 and he was 17. So is it true? In favor of Ford's accusation, she reportedly told her therapist a version of the story in 2012, and her husband likewise says she told him too. At the suggestion of her attorney, she also successfully took a polygraph test in early August. That works in her favor, that she came forward in 2012. Now, she never said Judge Kavanaugh did it. She said that she had an incident, but let me go through the list. There are also reasons to question Ford's allegation. Here are the top 12. Ford's therapist notes of the incident don't match her current version of the story. Ford says Kavanaugh pinned her down and attempted to take off her bathing suit. In the room, also, she said, was his friend Mark Judge. Ford told this story in 2012, about 30 years later, to her therapist during a couples therapy. The therapist notes from that session don't name Brett Kavanaugh and also report Ford said four men were in the room. Ford says the discrepancy is the fault of her therapist, not her. Okay, that's one reason to question. Ford, by her own admission, has a hazy recollection of the incident. Despite telling the Washington Post this incident so traumatized her, she's been in recovery ever since. She also admitted not recalling the incident specifically. She doesn't remember the year it happened, but believes it occurred in 1982, when she was 15 and Kavanaugh was 17. She does not recall where the incident occurred, only that it was a house in Montgomery County. She forgets whose house it was and how she got there. She forgot whether Kavanaugh and Judge were already upstairs when she went up, or if she came up with, or if they came up with her. She also forgot how she got home that night. Some of Ford's students suggest she is a vengeful. This is another reason. Some of Ford's students suggest she is a vengeful and is mentally unbalanced. And I got that story. But so what's happening, and look, she threw herself into this controversy. So people are doing articles about the situation. Now I know every activist and every Me Too sympathizer are saying, how can you question her? It has to be true. But you have to look at the timing, the political ramifications. You can't just take people's word for anything. You have to have proof. So I'll come back and we'll read some more crazy stories and this is what we're stuck with now with this news. And we'll get through it. Hopefully nothing like this really happened. It would be ashamed if it happened. And if it really happened, he should be taken off, right? Or not voted on. But absent proof, you can't make these decisions. You can't do the he said, she said thing and actually make a judgment on somebody's life, especially with the Democrats, who lie. All right, you're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM.
Is blood-stained white sheets. Say they somebody dying, is bringing heat like the iron, and you ain't got that beef, still clapping, looking for iron. All I hear is sirens. Pray I ain't taking another loss. Life came with a course, and we all pay it. Names engraved, claim the graves that we laying. They gon' tell you they love you, won't tell you when they was hating. And them saying niggas that's gon' fake it until they make it. The rest of us out here gon' get it, cause we gon' take it. Don't tell me what you got. Tell me how you got it, that ain't the life you live. So how you figure you bought it, I'ma be real till I die. You say the same and I doubt it, you let the hype gas you up. I'm hot regardless, without it, never been the type to brag. But I got this in the bag, and I'm trying, boy, to go for it. I this shit never had, and my dad a bigger crib. Mama better way to live, my sister's the comfortability and not needing these niggas. Build me a house up on the mountain, there's some issue. Make it see through just to walk around but naked in that if I deserve it. All the time I put in, hustling and grinding for ends, can't tell me I don't deserve it. All the time I put in, hustling and grinding for ends, can't tell me I don't deserve it. For every time I fought tears, feeling alone all these years, fighting and facing my fears, can't tell me I don't deserve it. All the time I fought tears, feeling alone all these years, fighting and facing my fears, can't tell me I don't deserve it. For every night I stayed up with a pain in my gut, cold wind in my strut, don't know where I'm going, but I'm going and I ain't looking back. Could only blame myself, thinking only if I could've took it back. I've been stupid, I've been foolish, but I'm growing, show improvement. If I got something to prove, then I'm proving it to myself. Then no matter how hard it get, I'ma play the cards that I dealt. Go hard for what I felt, what I'm feeling like, killing everything in my path. Don't nothing last too long, even the pain stay strong till I'm under the grave and gone. Gotta get right for every time I did wrong. For every night I sat up like the up descended all. Got up from A4, standing tall, never gave up. Leave it to them to try to make it seem like they made us, cause they be showing love to disguise the fact that they hate us. Been in the game too long, nerve of them to try to play us. MVP most valid position, I'm comfortable wherever they couldn't fit in. You could have all the riches and be dead broke and need a fixin'. Tell me what's your intentions, why they try to change sneakers? I'm trying to change the conditions, I deserve it. All the time I put in, hustling and grinding for ends, can't tell me I don't deserve it. All the time I put in, hustling and grinding for ends, can't tell me I don't deserve it. For every time I fought tears, feeling alone all these years, fighting and facing my fears, can't tell me I don't deserve it. All the time I fought tears, feeling alone all these years, fighting and facing my fears, can't tell me I don't deserve it. I deserve it. Can't tell me I don't deserve it.
All right, you're listening to Breaking News with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave. Hey, anybody who follows politics should remember this. This is about 27 years ago, I think it was, close to 30 years ago, when the Democrats pulled this same stunt with Justice Clarence Thomas. But let's listen.
Committee will please come to order. Judge, it's a tough day and tough night for you, I know. Let me ask, do you have anything you'd like to say before we begin? I understand that your preference is, which is totally and completely understandable, that we go 1 hour tonight, 30 minutes on each side. Am I correct in that?
That's right.
Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Senator, I would like to start by saying unequivocally, uncategorically, that I deny each and every single allegation against me today that suggested in any way that I had conversations of a sexual nature or about pornographic material with Anita Hill, that I ever attempted to date her, that I ever had any personal sexual interest in her, or that I in any way ever harassed her. A second, and I think more important point, I think that this today is a travesty. I think that it is disgusting. I think that this hearing should never occur in America. This is a case in which this sleaze, this dirt, was searched for by staffers of members of this committee, was then leaked to the media, and this committee and this body validated it and displayed it at prime time over our entire nation. How would any member on this committee, any person in this room, or any person in this country would like sleaze said about him or her in this fashion, or this dirt dredged up, and this gossip and these lies displayed in this manner? How would any person like it? The Supreme Court is not worth it. No job is worth it. I'm not here for that. I'm here for my name, my family, my life, and my integrity. I think something is dreadfully wrong with this country when any person in this free country would be subjected to this. This is not a closed room. There was an FBI investigation. This is not an opportunity to talk about difficult matters privately or in a closed environment. This is a circus. It's a national disgrace. And from my standpoint, as a black American, as far as I'm concerned, it is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves, to do for themselves, to have different ideas. And it is a message that unless you kowtow to an old order, this is what will happen to you. You will be lynched, destroyed, caricatured by a committee of the U.S. Senate rather than hung from a tree.
All right. You remember that? They just did the same thing. They just pulled the play out of the old playbook. And if let's just say if this lady was telling the truth, right? And she may have been through something, right? And she has problems, remembering, a problem with recollection of what happened. And she sees these people on TV, and she's trying to place, and also she has biases. There's also some protest thing. Kavanaugh accused a signed letter fighting against Trump's border enforcement. So she's obviously a political person also, right? And then you have some students who call her crazy and they feared being in her class, that she was vengeful and all of this stuff. But that's character stuff, right? That's character stuff, which Judge Kavanaugh has had plenty of people go up and testify about his character. He actually had 65 women who were in his high school go and testify in his favor. She's the only one who remembers him in that type of fashion, right? But let's say she believes something happened, right? And she came forward in July, right? Even though she says she didn't want to be in the public eye, she didn't want to speak in front of the Senate or Congress, but she gave it to Dianne Feinstein in July. What are they doing bringing it up now, right before the vote, if not for politics? And if Dianne Feinstein and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, all of the leaders of the Democrat Party, if they believed in this, if they were with the Me Too movement and women and all this stuff, they would have jumped on it immediately. But they didn't. They must have not believed it. Right? And the FBI, who has done 6 background checks on Kavanaugh, can't find anything on it. So why else? And Dianne Feinstein knows this. Senator Dianne Feinstein knows this. The FBI told her this. So why bring it up now if it's not a political Hail Mary? If it's not to taint this man's life just for politics? I tell you, this political system is horrible, and what they did to Clarence Thomas was horrible. And then you had also a willing participant to come up and say things about him that were 20 years old also, over 20 years old. Now, this lady, what's her name again? Ford, Christine Blasey Ford, she can't remember important parts of her story. And they say she passed the polygraph test. What did she pass? She can't remember anything. You know, she may have been through a traumatic experience in her life. But she can't place people, places. It's a hard thing to judge. And if we were going to judge it, you have to give people due process, which is gone after, I think it's over 35 years ago that this allegedly happened. It's just such a horrible thing to do on the eve of voting for the Supreme Court justice, when they could have taken care of this in July when Dianne Feinstein got to know, or they were so calculated that they figured if they did it in July, Trump would have another nominee. So why knock him out in July? Let's wait to the eve of this process to actually throw this lady to the wolves who said she didn't want to be in the public eye. It's ridiculous. The politics is disgusting and dirty. I have Democrats who I've talked to, and they're like, they don't believe the lady. But if it gets Kavanaugh, if it knocks the Kavanaugh nomination out, great. And that's what people think. And they have reason to think that because of the way Dianne Feinstein went about the process of actually waiting for the last minute Hail Mary. It's disgusting. All right, let's move on to something else. My time is quickly dwindling. All right, let's move on to another story. All the stories in the paper are about this, and I'm trying not to touch on this. But let's look at this. Intel chair FBI. This is on the Washington Free Beacon. Intel chair FBI justice corrupted for political spying. Democrats and media allies seeking to advance a liberal political agenda corrupted FBI and Justice Department corrupted the FBI and Justice Department in improperly spying on Donald Trump's presidential campaign. The chairman of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence said this week. Representative Devin Nunes, the intelligence panel head who has spearheaded an investigation into corruption at the FBI, also warned in a speech that China has emerged as the most serious strategic threat facing the United States. Nunes said President Trump is close to declassifying new information he believes will show the FBI and Justice Department misuse their counterintelligence power to spy on the Trump campaign during the 2016 election. Now, what this article is all about is the Republicans want to declassify the FISA warrant, right? So they want to show you what exactly the Democrats, or not the Democrats, the FBI, the Obama Justice Department at the time, what exactly did they tell the judge to get this warrant? Because the FISA court is a foreign intelligence court, right? It's a secret court. And you're not supposed to go and the biggest problem about this court is that it's like 99% of the times, if the FBI goes with a warrant, they give it to them. You know, it should be more difficult to actually get a warrant on somebody, especially an American citizen. When you're going to a FISA court, a foreign intelligence court, your proof on a citizen should be 10 times that of a foreigner who you suspect of something, right? So anyway, the Republicans want to declassify the FISA warrant, so you can see that the only thing the FBI had was the fake dossier. The dossier that James Comey said was salacious and unproven. Okay, so they had no proof that anything in the dossier was true, yet they used it to get a warrant against Trump's campaign. That's abuse of power. That's political. That's using your power for political purposes. That's an abuse of power. And we shouldn't let anyone get away with it, because eventually it might be used on your side, and you're setting a precedent here. So anyway, that's what's going on. The Republicans want the FISA warrant seen. The Democrats are fighting against allowing the American people to see the FISA warrant. I wonder why, right? The Democrats, who are always saying they want transparency, don't want the Department of Justice to be transparent on this. It's insane. Right? Let's move on. Strzok and Page text calling to Strzok Page text calling to open case in chargeable way under fresh scrutiny. Okay, there's some new text coming out with Peter Strzok, the FBI agent, and his paramour. He was having an affair with a Justice Department attorney, Lisa Page. Text messages from disgraced FBI figures Peter Strzok and Lisa Page discussing whether to open a case in a formal, chargeable way after director James Comey was fired are under fresh scrutiny after Page told congressional investigators there was no evidence of Russian collusion at the time, according to the 3 congressional sources. 2 hours after Comey's termination became public on May 9th, 2017, Strzok, a now former FBI agent, because of these texts where he hated Trump, because in some of the texts he says he's helping Hillary, and in some of the texts he says he's getting Trump. 2 hours after Comey's termination became public, now former FBI agent texted Page, his then colleague and lover, "We need to open the case we've been waiting on now while Andy is acting." Andy is a reference to the then Deputy Director, Andrew McCabe, who was also fired for lying. And for lying to his own FBI, for lying to the Inspector General. Right? These are the people who were colluding against, at the time, candidate Donald Trump. Right? Andy is a reference to then Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, who temporarily took over the Bureau until Christopher Wray was confirmed in August 2015. Page, a former FBI attorney, replied to Strzok, we need to lock in redacted in a formal, chargeable way. Strzok concurred. I agree. I've been pushing And I'll re-emphasize with Bill, believed to be Bill Priestap, the head of the FBI's counterintelligence division. The text messages were provided to Congress earlier this year, and among the 6 months of missing messages blamed on software and technical issues with the FBI. Right, so the FBI's been hiding all these texts, right? Because they implicate, they prove that there was political bias that was actually involved in the investigation of Donald Trump, in the investigation in getting warrants against Carter Page, and in actually sending a spy to entrap Papadopoulos. All these people had the FBI colluding against Trump to try to get him with something, right? Because they wanted to stop him from being president. And then once he became president, the messages changed to, we have to take him down. Now, you may hate Trump, but it's strange and I talk to Trump haters, never Trumpers, every day. And it's strange to see people who under normal circumstances, would think they're fair people, but under these circumstances, they feel that it doesn't matter how they get Trump as long as they get him. It's insane. Right? The text messages were provided to Congress for that. Page sat for a transcribed interview with the House Judiciary Committee and Oversight Committee in July. And, she was more cooperative than Strzok, who was, acting weird when he went and testified. But it's just insane. It's insane that it's come to this, where the Democrats are fighting against transparency in Congress. They're trying to block the American people actually seeing this warrant. Why? They're saying they're trying to protect the FBI. The Democrats have never protected the FBI. Under George Bush, they were going after the FBI and the CIA for not being transparent. Now, they want to hide everything with the FBI. It's insane. All right, I'm going to play some music. You know what? I'm just going to get out of here. You've been listening to Breaking News. Absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio. Have a wonderful rest of the week. I'll see you Friday, or you'll listen to me Friday. See ya! Friday, 12 noon.
Is the rudder of the boat, but the Lord of all is its pilot. Cast not thy heart after riches. There's no ignoring fate and destiny. Place not thy thoughts on things outside. Every man is destined for his hour.
On feeling goods where all of your cash went. Not chakra alignment or inward refinement. Trying to find one word to describe men. Better yet, can one consciousness unify them? Pondering on these questions is where my time spent. Creative process, believe it. Greatness got to achieve it. Ideas we believe in. Positive mind, gotta reach in it. Putting effort to bring forth this new being. You're not consumed by the lust for things, but knows that his work is determined by words and deeds. Your mind is affected by words and deeds. Your thoughts are keys to what you're trying to see. And what you're trying to see should be to reach your goals. Hold on to your dreams. Keys open doors. Since you can't always choose circumstances, make sure to choose your thoughts wisely. Choose advancement. Work towards the future. Now's your chance, kid. Accept responsibility. Avoid resentment. Actions always take root from what you think about. Things ain't going your way. Ain't it hard to figure out why? Why? Ask why. Ain't gotta tell you. It's your right in front of your eyes. So in following these principles you'll find along the road, you're the only one responsible for your soul. It's no coincidence. Take control of your life, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. You take control, no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Yeah, it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence. Nah, it's no coincidence.
Old shells are highly prized. And this one is occupied by a sarcastic fringe.